I feel like before I go into what a hell of a year it's been, I feel like I want to like say that once money becomes like an available thing in abundance, I'm moving to Guam. Just want to put that out there. Um, I just need to make sure that I'm not in the first in the firing line when all this shit just blows up. I guess I don't know. Like, I just want to make sure I'm as far away from the bullshit as possible. But yeah, 2020 has been probably, I want to say, the worst year that I've experienced, but it's two different ways to put it, right? So it's like the worst year I've experienced, like socially, like world-wise, but it's not the worst year I've experienced personally. I've had
for yourself,
trials and tribulations in my life. Yeah. But I think this is the worst on record that this generation will experience. And no one, I don't want to jinx this because 2021 is like like soon. So I don't want to I don't want to be like, yeah, this is the worst ever. And 2021 was like, hold my beer. Like, I don't want to, like, I'm humbly going to 2021, like, hopefully life gets better. But I mean, how do you feel about it? What's your take so far? You know, I guess like from the broader perspective, and then we'll start listing out the shit that's taking place.
I think the biggest thing at the start of the end of 2019, start of 20, was Brexit. Mm-hmm. And that's like just been a complete shadow. Like Brexit, we left the EU at the start of 20, and then there was like the withdrawal agreements and all that sort of stuff, and that was like the focus of the United Kingdom. And then that just got put to the side. And then
it's just like,
and then now it's slowly coming back to like conversation. But I think that just shows like how crazy it's been. Like no one talked about Brexit at all. That was even like a important issue.
It was the most important issue going into 2020, and ended up being probably the least important issue coming out of 2020. Even though like it's still obviously from a political standpoint quite high on the docket. With the shit that's happened, you just start to think like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't be talking about Brexit. Like, there's some shit going on. But to start off, we're gonna list the things that have happened and how close these things happen together. That I think that's the fuckery, if you will, that these things happened, you know, day in, day out for nearly a year now. Okay, because I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, this really happened, and not that I forget, but it's just not as important in the grand scheme of like what's taken place since. So the U.S. and Iran nearly enter into open conflict, and that happened on January 3rd. And a lot of people look at that and say, "Oh, why is that important?" You know, a lot of other things. We're gonna get to the other things. Relax, don't worry. But you know, from my recollection of it, if I can remember that far back, it has been a hell of a year. I just remember waking up and seeing that Trump had blew up some Iranian general at the airport in his personal vehicle. Not personally blew him up. That would be badass. I'm not saying that the guy deserved to die. I'm saying badass in the sense of, imagine the president himself is out there like Rambo. But like, they send a drone, blows up this dude, and then it nearly goes into like, oh shit, World War III, everyone's gonna die. And little did we know. Like at that point, that was our biggest issue. Like that was our shit. That was the thing that we thought like, oh my God. And you know, Twitter blew up, you know, memes, World War III is coming, all sorts of stuff is coming. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, they ain't gonna start no damn war. Ain't nothing gonna happen. They're gonna blow this dude up. Iran's gonna get over it. We're gonna move on, right? Well, I'm happy to some degree. I was somewhat right about that. I'm sure there's still some lingering issues. Iran threw some threats They're like, we're not coming after the American people. No, coming for you, Donald. Like, and I just figured, like, at that point when they said that, everybody took like 2 steps away from this dude. Like, let me just get out the blast radius just in case. But that wouldn't be Donald Trump's biggest issue. Or not even, that wouldn't even be Iran's biggest issue, in the sense of what was to come next. Let's go locally. Let's talk locally. So as anything, shit's happening. The world's doing what the world does. Things happen daily, periodically. People die and all sorts of things. We're not really thinking about it. We were warned of a certain COVID, but we're not going to talk about that yet. We were warned of it. We were told it was racing through China at this point. Things were happening. Numbers were going up. All sorts of things were happening. But we were not concerned here over in Britain or even in America. We were living our lives. The Premier League was still had fans in it. Champions League was going. United was still shit, so it didn't matter to me. But the point was things were still happening. Life was still moving as it went, and we did not care. And what happens? Somehow, out of nowhere, Wiley ends up in the beef with Stormzy. And then, that happens for a couple of days. And that takes our attention off of the Iran thing. Because as Black people, usually when beef starts in rap or hip hop or grime culture, we're just straight up like, oh, fuck the world and going to this is more interesting. And I'm not going to say who won or whatever. I'm not going to disrespect nobody here. But it was interesting, for the couple of days that went on. I would say that Stormzy was highly disrespectful in the most hip hop way or grime way possible. And then we move, because that's how quickly 2020 has been moving, people. It's like, we're just moving, we're moving. I didn't know about this even to today when Raf sent me this video, this list. I didn't know this even happened. A Ukrainian flight crashes in Tehran, Iran, and killing 176 passengers on board. Knew nothing about it. And the reason why I knew nothing about it is, let me be quite clear here. And God rest all those people's soul. Being quite clear here. Shit was still happening simultaneously while this went on. Things that seemed to be more important to me at the time. I just want a side note. At the beginning of the year, I usually put out a word on my Instagram for those who follow me. And it's something that is the mantra of the year. That's the word of the year. 2020 is supposed to be success. Well, anyway. So we move
Successfully
on.
bad.
So this is yeah. So we move on. So the Stormzy thing happened on the 5th of January. 3 days later, the Ukrainian flight situation happened on the 8th. And then the same day, 8th, we get our usual yearly issue with the royal family over here in Britain. And Prince Harry and Meghan Markle announced that they're stepping down from their duties as senior royals in Buckingham Palace, which we also are coming. I think that she took on a lot of crap from the media, and I don't blame them for doing what they did. I thought what was, and I'll ask you about this, I thought what was telling is that Harry said, I don't want what happened to my mother to happen to my wife. Kind of eerie statement. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I've been watching The Crown, actually. It's actually a good watch, to be fair.
Nicole's on that hard. Like, I watched it and I started getting bored and I was like, nah, it's not for me.
Yeah, this season one is not, sorry, season one. The first episode and first season isn't that great, but the second season's good. And then following on from that is good.
Yeah, no, so I liked the younger royals. It was when they started to get older, I was just like, this is not for me. Right. I was like, I'm not too into this. I think I watched up to the point where Prince Charles had to do the thing in Wales.
Yeah.
And like that whole situation happened. That's why I watched that up to.
Yeah.
Then I was like, yeah, this is too much for me now.
Well, I know that's like, you can't really say all of that is true. But there is a point where Diana's in a new one, and you could just tell by the media and just the support that the royal family sort of give their family, or lack of support. It's not that great. So I think we all sort of seen the fact that that's going to happen. Just the way that Meghan is and the way that Harry is. Like, Harry's most outspoken.
I mean, they're getting They're getting paid now. I mean, you see they're signing all these deals, Netflix and all this shit, like Disney, they're getting paid, bro.
Yeah.
Like they out here. They said we gonna survive. We don't need your money.
They're gonna get more money. They're gonna get more money than the royal family, like, put together.
No, 100%.
Do you know what I mean?
100%. 100%. So we move. You know, a lot of people be like, why is this stuff important? We're just trying to earmark the shit that took place while shit was taking place.
This is a week into January, by the way.
Yeah, this is just we're on the 16th at this point in time. On the 26th of January, probably for me, I'm gonna touch on this a little bit, probably deeper. For me, probably like the worst thing that's happened this year. And a lot of people are gonna be like, "What?" And I'm like, "Look, man, if you know what the man was about and what he did, it was probably for me the worst thing that's happened this year."
But you forgot one thing,
me, because. What did I forget? What did I go past? Oh, no. Yes, you're right. The best thing that happened this year. Sorry. See, this is the thing. This is what this year does. You skip over. You know, to be fair, the reason why I skipped over it probably is because I wasn't interested in this asshole. But the point is this is very important. Thank you, Raph. The impeachment trial of, I'm not going to say president, of Donald Trump.
Former president.
The former dickhead. Still dickhead, but, you know, nonetheless. The impeachment of Donald Trump, which was, it was a farce. It was a farce, really. I think, you know, people got gassed thinking they were going to kick him out of office and it was going to end right there. No election. He's going to go. I knew from the jump, like, he ain't getting, nothing's going to happen.
Nah.
Nothing's going to happen.
Just to appease people.
This man ain't going nowhere. Yeah, like, people just wanted to, you know, there was a bunch of charges brought against him that were probably 100% true, and everybody was just like, "Oh, we're gonna get him finally. We've nailed the coffin down." And I was just like, "Bro, if you think they're about to get rid of this dude with an impeachment, you don't lost your damn mind." I was like, he would have to do what Bill Clinton did before they impeach him. He'd have to be getting head in the Oval Office. There's no way they were fitting to impeach Donald Trump, especially when he has more electoral seats. I think at the time in Senate with, you know, more Republicans and stuff. He wasn't going nowhere. Wasn't nobody voting on him to go nowhere. It didn't make no sense. It was a waste of the taxpayers' money in America. And I also think that it was false hope. It was just false hope. But he's gone now. You know, that's one of the top highlight of 2020. Like, it's over for him. But at the same time, I just, I don't know. I feel like that was just nothing but gas. It was just like, let's give the people like a little bit of hope. But do you think it led? Actually, here's a question. Do you think it led to his losing the election?
Yeah, I guess so.
Like, I mean that in the sense of not people who are obviously not going to vote for Donald Trump. I mean people who are on the fence. People who are like, I voted for him the first time, but I'm not too sure because the shit he's been doing, and now he's got impeached. Maybe that leads me down the path of actually saying, nah, he's got to go.
I don't know about those people. I think just in general, I think people took it a bit more seriously because there was all the evidence that he should have stepped down, or should have been let go. But obviously that didn't happen. And we know the reasons why it didn't happen. So I think people took it seriously when it came round to voting this time, and they were like, we need to get rid of this guy. So I think it led to more people coming out. I think if there wasn't an impeachment trial and he kind of was a bit more normal towards the end of his reign, then I think people would have been like, oh yeah, let's give him another chance. But
yeah, I think he just spiraled as these things continued. Things kept getting levied at him, especially with the global pandemic. The next thing is, which I was going to talk about, but Raph had highlighted me to the orange dude that I needed to just quickly expel from our systems. So I remember this day kind of heavily because it was early over in America. It was kind of afternoon time over here in the UK. And just like anything else, social media, when something happens, social media just bang, 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 bang. And a lot of the time you can't really believe it because if you're on YouTube or any of these things, sometimes people falsely claim that people have died.
Yeah, that's happened.
You see a lot of that. You see that happen so many times. Like sometimes people just put things out and you don't want to believe it. I think it's sometimes we talk about people like Michael Jackson. I know when Michael Jackson died the first time I heard that, I was like, get the fuck out of here. Michael Jackson can't die. Are you insane? But when you see it pop up everywhere, you're like, let me check this out. And usually it's going to sound crazy and to some degree, you know, as much as I don't want to do this, shout out to TMZ. When something happens, usually I don't type in TMZ, but it's the first thing when you go on Google and type in what's happened, and then bang, TMZ's like, this is true. This is actually taking place. And for those who obviously are still confused with what the fuck I'm talking about, Kobe and Gigi Bryant both lost their lives in a helicopter crash, which for me was probably, in terms of people that I looked up to and I'm not going to say idolized, but definitely admired. Yeah, it burned. It even burns now, man. It's still kind of like, it's still upsetting. I think, you know, I was actually having a conversation about this the other day, and I was just like, you know, what's sad about it more than anything else is like, obviously Gigi Bryant being her age and not being able to live her life out was probably the most saddest part. And obviously the 7 other people on the helicopter who died as well were also young girls in there as well. I'm sorry, I didn't really study their names or know their names or whatever, but obviously RIP to them as well. But Kobe was such an iconic person, not just for his basketball, but for his mentality. You see a lot of people now with the Mamba mentality, kind of like hashtags and things of that nature, and what he meant to the game and what he meant to Black people, what he meant to, you know, the world. I mean, the man won an Oscar and Emmy on his way after his retirement from the NBA. So it shows how much he was dedicated to what he was doing and being a content creator, because that's what he was doing, really, writing books and doing film and short films and stuff like that at the time. So definitely RIP to him, and blessings to his family and the other people who've lost people in that air crash. It was really, really sad time for a lot of people in that situation. Moving forward, not quickly, but definitely on to the next thing. So that's January 16th was the Trump situation. The 26th January was Kobe. And then we move on to the 31st. And on the 31st, the UK and Gibraltar formally withdraw from the European Union, beginning an 11-month transition period, which I guess kind of gets covered as we continue to move down the line, because in this period, a lot of other shit took place. So that kind of, I think, didn't become the most important thing on the docket when it came to House of Parliament and things of that nature. But for me, and this goes to COVID to a degree, you know, how wrong people were to leave the European Union. Like, they really didn't, nobody saw COVID coming, so you can't really say that they were at fault. But when you think about what's happened in Germany and Italy and France and all these other places, and the bailouts and the money that's been given out to the people who live in these countries, and freezing bills and all that type of stuff, like you kind of start to think, hey, maybe leaving the European Union was a bad idea. But we'll get to that. So that's on the 31st of January. Same day, Australia declares a state of disaster amid large bushfires, and it killed as many as 500 million animals. So now the animals are involved in what could only be described as human fuck-ups. Obviously, you get bushfires in Australia, which obviously anybody's lost their homes and anything, and, you know, God bless you. And obviously, many animals lost life. People look at that and say, it wasn't really important, I don't really care, X, Y, Z. Look, man, like, you got to understand, like, if you watch Lion King as a child, it's a circle of life. You know, shit like this happens. Yes, there's going to be revival, new growth, things of that nature, but it affects the world on a major scale, on a major level. And we need to be mindful of what we're doing.
The ecosystem, like, just
the
ecosystem that's been going on for like millions of years. So, I mean, if you wipe out certain animals, it's going to have an effect. So yeah, that's just like basic science, to be honest. But yeah, it's quite.
And it's severe. It's severe, and I think people need to be people need to clue themselves up, man. And we are definitely going through global change, and you know, us right now, we might not see the effects of this down the line, you know, or the heavy effects, but our children's children and things of that nature, you know, it's crazy. So just do your Googles, man. Like, definitely see what you can do to, you know, recycle whatever, or just do your part. And then we enter where shit gets a little twisted. Shit gets a little real. Now, we were being warned about this from the back end of December. So I just want to state that now. Let's not get the date and when this shit started mixed up. In China, people will make a lot of different assumptions. Wet markets, all this other stuff, bat soup, that went away. You realize bat soup was the leading cause for COVID-19 for the first 3 to 4 weeks. And guess what? Nobody gives a shit about bat soup no more because it was a lie. It's a farce. It's bullshit. It's what the media spin to put it out there. See, if they were eating bat soup, I don't want to know, but if people were eating bat soup,
how much money could I
they didn't just pick bat soup.
I want to see Razik eat bat soup.
You'd have to.
How many subscribers would you take?
Nah, bro. All right. Put it this way, right? Put it this way. If we get 500 subscribers, I will locate bat soup. I will locate.
Just taste it. I have to even.
I'll taste it. Yeah, I'll eat. You know what? I'll go even further. Give me 500 subscribers, and I shit you not, I'll eat a bowl of bat soup. If I die, it's Raph's fault. I just want to put it out there. But nonetheless, COVID-19 was announced by the World Health Organization as a pandemic on February 1st. Now, here's the thing. We knew, I think me and you had quiet conversation. A couple other people had quiet conversations. And we knew, I was thinking, this Wuhan shit ain't cool, bro. Like, we need to, what's going on with that? And it was kind of like swept under the rug for the first couple of months. Nobody was really, it's not going to affect us. Matt Hancock, you dick. he was in the House of Parliament, and his words were, I've already had conversations with the health organization of Great Britain, and they're saying that it's not something that we can't handle. We got everything in place to handle it, you fucking liar. Anyway, as that happened, we got 19 days of bliss, people. 19 days, nothing happened. 19 clear fucking days, nothing happened. You were thinking, hallelujah, the world's coming back to some normality. Fuck you, you were wrong. February 20th, 2020, the fucking stock market's crashed. Now, you're probably thinking that's not a big deal, right?
2002, 2020, or some date.
Yeah, exactly. So the stock market's crashing. Everybody's like, they crash all the time. Shit happens all the time. The markets are always up and down. I don't understand that shit. Well, guess what? When shit starts going south, you can tell because the markets crash. And that's when you know to hold on to your money. So anybody who is still spending money on the 20th of February, understand right now, you done fucked up. Nonetheless, that's not all that took place. 4 days later, something that's more social, I suppose, they finally convicted Harvey Weinstein of rape and sexual assault in New York City. I'm sure he committed sexual assault and rape in many other states, but New York City were the one to get him. He's still in prison, I think now, isn't he? I think he's still in prison now.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's a nice prison.
Yeah, well, I'm
sure it's a country club.
He's not looking too well.
Nice beds and shit.
He's not looking too well, which I
he
don't care.
Looks a little bit.
I don't care about.
Yeah, exactly. Like, all right, he looks a little bit sick. And your point is, anyway, so that happens. Good for everybody. Hopefully there's some closure with the women who were obviously assaulted by this disgusting human being. Long may he rot in prison. We move. Italy becomes the first country to go on lockdown, nationwide lockdown. Now, here's the thing. Going back to what I previously said about the European Union, Italy went on a nationwide lockdown, and they froze mortgage. They froze bills. They froze anything that would harm the people of Italy when it comes to day-to-day life, spending money. All they had to worry about was their food, getting food in, things of that nature. We saw videos on Twitter and Instagram of people playing music in their apartments and people having like balcony parties. I wish they were still doing that, so they're going outside now, fucking assholes. Nonetheless, so they're up there and having balcony parties and people are just enjoying themselves. And it seemed like, things were cool. It seemed like, we're going to get out of this at that point. It seemed like, it attacked Italy, but they can control it. If they can control we'll be okay. We lied. Anyway, so at that point, we're sitting there thinking everything's cool. Now, the European Union situation is this. The reason why they were able to freeze all these things is because there's bailout money. Obviously, the European Union would have given Italy a certain amount of money to freeze everything and paid off all these companies who were waiting to receive money. And that's how these people were able to be done. In Britain, the European Union looked at Britain and said, no, but y'all leaving. We don't do that over there. So they weren't willing to help Britain in that situation. And, is what it is. So those who voted Brexit, dickheads. If you're broke right now, you voted Brexit, congratulations to you. So we move. And unfortunately, we move on to what actually started probably the biggest conversation outside of this actually didn't start the conversation. This joined the conversation. And I'll get to what actually started the conversation. And you guys will know exactly what I'm talking about when I mention this. On the 13th of March, 2020, Breonna Taylor, 26-year-old African-American woman, was fatally shot in her Louisville, Kentucky apartment by a white plainclothes officer, Jonathan. I don't know how to spell it, say his last name. Who gives a shit anyway? He's a piece of shit. They shot this young lady in her bed. The story goes that she was in her bed sleeping. No knock warrant. They kicked the door in. Her boyfriend thought it was intruders. He fired a shot, hit one of the cops. They fired several shots, killed Breonna Taylor, and where we landed in a piece of shit. The problem is we didn't know much about this situation happening until what would take place later on, and we'll get to that. God rest her soul and bless her family. Things go quiet for a while, and for the most part, I don't think many people knew about the Breonna Taylor situation. Things go quiet for a minute, and you're thinking respite. We're all thinking respite. We're all thinking, out of everything that's happened, COVID's kind of moving, but Matt Hancock, the dickhead, said we're in control, but we're not.
Isn't this the
That was
same
the 13th
period
of March, 27th of
where we had lockdown? Yeah, it is. So
yeah, so we went into lockdown shortly at the beginning of March.
Yeah, it was 16th of March.
Yeah, so we went to lockdown at the beginning of March. It's at the 16th. So after that, we've gone into lockdown. That wasn't on the list, but that doesn't matter. What's important to say that we went into lockdown is that once we went into lockdown, we were told that it was only going to be 4 weeks. Lying cunts. Anyway, so we moved because we're going to get into that, but we moved. So all through this period of lockdown, 4 weeks, we're like, 4 weeks. All right, everybody stay in the house. We're going to be good. We reach March 27th. We reach April 27th, 2020, and we're still in lockdown. And this is probably why this probably didn't matter. This next little anecdote. The Pentagon released UFO videos, and no one cared. Now, usually, in a regular year, you see a fucking flying saucer UFO thing in the fucking sky, and you freak the fuck out. But 2020 came to show us that it doesn't matter what's flying in the sky or what's on the ground. It's usual shit. This is what's gonna happen.
It was like, not today.
Yeah, it was just like, I ain't got time for y'all asses today, man. Go back where y'all came from. Shit. There's real shit happening on the ground here. So that happened. And to be honest with you, I forgot that too. So for all those who forgot, you're with me. We got a little bit of more respite. And we actually thought for a period of time that things were going to be okay again. Mind you, in Britain, we're still in lockdown. They said 4 weeks. This is May 5th. We're still in lockdown. So one of the most funniest countries, I think, in the world, have a guy by the name of Kim Jong-un. There were death rumors about this man, and most people probably thought, yes, he's gone. Only for him to appear a couple days later. So I don't know, this is what I meant earlier with the whole thing, unfortunately, that happened with Kobe. When people put things out on the internet and say people are dead, you tend to think, shit, is that real? Most times it ain't. So Kim Jong-un was supposed to be dead. It went from him being, I think if you remember correctly, Raph, it went from him being dead to him being in a vegetated state to him being fine. And people were really scared because his sister was supposed to take over and she's worse than him. And I was just like,
more militant.
I was just like, at this point, we're still early in 2020, guys. We're all here. We're all thinking, we're in lockdown, but it's going to be okay. And, it's getting better. You're queuing outside supermarkets and stuff like that. You're wearing your mask. You're doing everything they tell you to do. Well, shit continues to get worse. On May 22nd, air disaster. Pakistani International Airlines passenger aircraft crashes into residential area in Pakistan, killing 97 people, total 99 people on board, injured dozens on the ground. So obviously, you know, when planes crash, these things happen, and I think people usually take a numb view to them. It's unfortunate these things happen, but it's like people are like, oh, it's a freak of nature. Shit happens. I try not to really think about it too much because I do travel. Well, I did travel quite a lot in my life, but that doesn't seem to be happening anytime soon. So I think we kind of take a dull view to it, and it's an unfortunate thing. Again, God rest those people's soul. This list is reading like a who's who of the worst fucking shit that could possibly happen. So that's May 22nd, and we move on. We have 3 days. We have 3 days, and this next thing started a conversation that would, and I hope that in my lifetime, is going to shape the very fabric of this world that we live in. George Perry Floyd Jr. Was murdered by police officer at the time, Derek Chauvin, who knelt on his neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. The reason being behind this is because a shop reported that he had a counterfeit $20 bill. I'm sure people have seen the video. I'm sure people know about the situation. I'm sure people read into it. That went on to start real movement. Unfortunately, in on this planet, we don't really realize it too much. But a lot of the time when things start, it's because something bad has taken place. And then all of a sudden, some level of positivity comes out of it. But it's not. It's hurt and pain first. And then it starts a conversation, and whether or not we're still going to continue to have this conversation to 2021, we'll see. But I'm definitely going to keep flying the flag for change and social justice. The next day, as we all know what's going to happen next, the Black Lives Matter protests caused by the killing of George Floyd break out across hundreds of cities in the U.S. Also over here, people marched. People in different countries marched. So it was crazy that happened. Now, we might skip out a lot of things here. You're going to think we had a lot of respite. Mind you, we're still in lockdown through all these things happening. We're in lockdown at this point over here in Britain. So those who watch us over here in Britain, still in lockdown, probably breaking rules. Just some slight things that happened while that was happening. I know there were block parties in Halsden and Brixton. There were fucking crazy. There were fucking I think there were like hidden parties up north and Manchester and all these places.
Manchester was going on
the weather started to get better. Yeah, Liverpool was going on a mad one. Like it all started to get like it just got crazy. I remember me and Raph sitting here thinking, God damn it, people, can you just stay in the house? Like just stay in your goddamn house. But it is what it is. Shit happens. So from May 26th, where we're and through this time, I want to stress that the Black Lives Matter movement and everything that was going on, we only found out about Breonna Taylor after George Floyd. So after George Floyd, and then so many others came out. Ahmaud Arbery happened. Elijah McCann happened. So a lot of these stories started coming out after the fact of George Floyd. These things start getting highlighted after the fact. Videos start coming out and all these things happening after the fact that the George Floyd situation happened, because they weren't really getting the news coverage they should have been getting when it happened. And because the George Floyd thing was so visual, it brought up so many other things. So God rest the soul of all these people who lost their lives in that particular situation. From May 26th, we move on to July 2nd. Not Harvey Weinstein. What's that idiot's name? I forgot his name now. I was like, wait, no, his name is something
Jeffrey
else.
Epstein.
That's it. Jeffrey Epstein. I was close. Anyway, so on July 2nd, 2020, the girlfriend of Jeffrey Epstein was arrested, Ghislaine Maxwell. Again, you people might look at this and say, who gives a shit, right? You should give a shit. If you watch the documentary on Netflix, Ghislaine Maxwell is accused of grooming women, young women, very, very young women, for Jeffrey Epstein. And probably Harvey Weinstein, too. They probably knew each other. They probably hung out. And a lot of people implicated in this, Prince Andrew, Donald Trump, a lot of people going to the island, Bill Clinton, things of that nature. So I'm sure we haven't seen the very back end of that. But for right now, no one really gives a shit because we're still dealing with COVID-19. moving forward from July 2nd, mind you, at this point as well, by this point, we're out of lockdown. We've moved into soft phases in Britain of being able to go outside and socialize, but still have to social distance at 2 meters. July 17th. This is something I actually didn't know about, but we're going to get into it. Twitter hack, a group allegedly spearheaded by a Florida teen who took over Twitter accounts, the businesses and political figures, including Joe Biden, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, and Kanye West, in a Bitcoin scam. I mean, a lot of you people are not going to give a shit about this, but for the most part, it's kind of funny. I hope he's got like pictures and shit he's still willing to reveal as he's hacked them and he's got somebody holding on to them with a hard disk. I hope he's got all of them by the balls. Everybody on that list. Well, maybe not Kanye West, because I still have love for Kanye West. Even though he has said some questionable shit in 2020, I still love the man. Because I don't want to knock any black man. But the rest of them, I hope he's got them by the balls. Nonetheless, I'm not racist. I'm just saying. After July 17, 2020, we move on to July 24th. Again, we go back to the global warming issues and the ecosystem and what mankind has done to ruin this planet. There's West Coast wildfires that destroy people's homes. I'm sure people lost their lives in that. And you know, again, people just be mindful, man. You know, the planet is not meant to be consumed at the level we're consuming it at. Again, you think we get a little respite, but we kind of do and we kind of don't. August starts from July, as you know. August 4th, Beirut explosions. Multiple explosions caused by unsafe stored ammonium nitrate. Kills 135 people, injured thousands, and several damaged port of the Beirut in Lebanon. Sorry, I read that wrong. Damage is estimated to Jesus Christ, estimated at $10 to $15 billion, and at least 300,000 people left homeless. Here's my thing about this whole situation. I fucking thought it was a movie. Just like when I saw 9/11 back in 2001, I thought it was a fucking movie. When I saw the thing, I said, "What movie are they shooting?" If you saw the explosion and the reaction to the explosion, there was a guy in his apartment who seemed to be miles away. The shit blew up and it blew him onto the floor in his apartment. I genuinely thought it was a movie. When you saw it, what was your general take on that? Because I just was like, oh shit, like what film is this? I need to watch this when it comes out.
I thought it was a movie, man. Like, I've never seen anything like that. I guess that's a good thing about like mobile phones and all that sort of stuff. I know we had a episode about it previously about why it's not so good, but I guess this is a reason why it is good, because I couldn't imagine anything like that apart from seeing it in the movie. That was crazy.
I mean, I remember some years ago, like years ago. I think this is like after 9/11. A factory blew up over in Holland, and we heard it over here in Britain. I remember people saying if you there was a big explosion and everybody heard it. It was kind of crazy, but yeah, no, you didn't. There was no video of that back then. Phones weren't that great. But yeah, this Beirut thing, God bless everybody involved in that, and hopefully, you know, things are being people being homed and rehoused, and things are getting back to some level of normality. But we continue moving to the bullshit, man. The bullshit continues to happen. Chadwick Boseman on the 28th of August, 2020, dies of cancer, a battle that he was battling for 4 years. The craziest thing about this is that you wouldn't know the man was battling anything based on the fact that he was able to shoot many films in that time. Very iconic actor in his time. To be that iconic as a black man in such a short space of time, he played a lot of iconic black people. Even one who isn't really a person, but out of a comic book, and that was probably his biggest role. Which I'm so happy that Disney and Marvel have announced they will not be recasting that role. He will be the one and only Black Panther to ever grace our screens. So that's a fantastic thing they're doing to honor him. And we move, you know, they won't be replacing his character, but it's such a sad situation. He worked extremely hard. He played in Thurgood Marshall. He so many. He was Jackie Robinson, I think, as well. He was what's his name? Name fucking escapes me again. James Brown. He was James Brown. So he played a lot of iconic roles that, you know, from Black people who obviously that, you know, we know about and other Black people know about, and some people hold in high esteem. So, man, it's a life that deserves to be celebrated, man. And I hope that people continue to do so. We move from there, that sad situation, to another sad situation. On the 18th of September 2020, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, she died. She was the Supreme Court Justice. She was a trailblazer, and she was the second ever woman to be appointed to a high court. So, you know, as we normally do here on Blurred Lines, we try to highlight, and if you haven't watched our women's empowerment episodes with Golf Sis, you should. We try to highlight women and for all the great things they do. And obviously this woman did a lot of great things in her time, and hopefully she will continue to be remembered fondly in history. And if you don't know who she is, please go and do your Googles. We move on to something that actually kind of made me smile. It was the 18th of September when that unfortunate situation happened. And it's the 2nd of October when this fortunate situation happened. And I don't care how anybody feels about what I just said. Apparently, Donald Trump caught COVID after time and time again, months of saying it's a hoax, it's not real. You know, he called it the China virus, he did all that stuff. And apparently then he went and caught it. You know, a lot of people, very evil people at that time, I would say evil because I don't wish death on nobody, but a lot of evil people at that time would have been like, thank God he don't die. Yes, I would never do that. That's disgusting behavior. But I because of the words that he used, and we always say it takes karma forever to come around and slap somebody in the fucking face. Well, it didn't take long here. It did not take long here. As long now my personal feeling on this is this: he never had COVID. That's my personal feeling. He never had COVID. I think he tried to galvanize the American people by saying he had it, and then appearing to breathe deep and act like he's got it and all that type of stuff. And then he was going to come out of it and say, look how strong I am. I'm the guy that should lead the country. I think that's what was his game. And it didn't work, obviously, as we move forward. But you know, if he did have it, I think it would have been good just based on the fact that he would have known what people were really going through out there and the people who had loved ones that they've lost. And, you know, fuck that guy anyway, man. Fucking jackass. We move on to October 8th, and something that is near and dear to our channel, because we did an episode about it, and definitely near and dear to our hearts as well. The InSARS movement. For those who don't know, it was a police brutality situation that was going on in Nigeria, and it was supposed to be the anti-robbery squad, but you know, they were just then assaulting Black people in the streets of Nigeria, and it's just disgusting. It's just disgusting scenes, and it's still kind of going on now. A lot of people, I see a lot of things out there still saying InSARS. So I hope that conversation continues to move forward. Raph, how did you see that moment? Because I just felt like, wow, like this is really happening. Like this stuff is like, you know, not just in our westernized countries, but also in Africa. And these are Black officers as well.
At first, I didn't even know what it was about. I thought it was to do with SARS virus. That's the first thing I thought it was to do with.
That's what I thought, yeah.
And then you just realize that it's sort of a terrible situation. But it just goes to show you that no matter what color you are, or where you're from, or what continent you're from, or what country you're from, these things happen everywhere. Do you know what I mean? It's not just us versus them or them versus us. Do you know what I mean? There's bad people and there's good people. And if you want to be part of the good side, then you should talk about everything. So it's just another situation,
to even highlight that. Sorry to cut you, but even highlight that, I think there was an issue. There was where they had Chinese Muslims in cages in China.
Oh shit! Yeah. Wait, when was that?
People spoke about. So, but that's the thing. Just not even to like. I mean, that's a big thing that the world didn't really care too much about. And I think just to highlight what you said, whether you're white, Black, Asian, whatever, these things are still slavery and all these type of things are still going on currently on our planet. And we need to keep these conversations going so we can fix these things, man, for sure, or at least try to make the government governmental situations in those countries own up to the crimes and atrocities that they committed. It is disgusting. I think in this time also we've seen children in America in cages separated from their parents.
Yeah.
I think that started under Obama, which a lot of people will say like, oh, it was Obama's fault. But understanding politics, if you go watch our episode about the Obama interview with the Breakfast Club, you go back to that, watch that, you'll understand more about it. But I think that started with Obama to a degree at the end of his tenure, and then we moved into it with Trump, and Trump obviously didn't do anything about it either. So these things are happening to children, these things are happening all over the world, and these are things that we have to fix, essentially, that are wrong with our system.
Unfortunately,
so that was 8. Yeah, go on.
I was just going to say, unfortunately, there's so much stuff. As you can see, like we've just picked out like enough.
There's a lot of stuff that
we just picked out things that just.
I only remember, you know what's so funny? I only remember the China thing with the Chinese Muslims because you said people of all different races, things happen to people of all different colors, and I was just like, shit, yeah, that happened as well. And I, a footballer over here by the name of Mesut Ozil used to play for Arsenal. Now he doesn't kick a ball in anger. He actually talked about it, and there's widespread rumors to why he doesn't play for Arsenal anymore, because Arsenal have a lot of money out in China that they're an investment and things like that, and that's why he doesn't play for the football club anymore, or the soccer club for our American listeners and watchers. So we move from there, and we don't move on quickly because I feel like it's something that needs to continue to be talked about, even going into 2021. But some hope. I don't think it's great hope. I think there's only one side of it that's great hope, and the other side of it is a little bit like, better of two evils. So November 3rd happens. For everyone who doesn't know, we live underneath a rock. We get Joe Biden, president-elect, and Kamala Harris, vice president-elect. And since that point, I mean, it's been a shit show for Donald Trump, because he's been out here talking about, I won the election, and it's a farce, and and fake ballots, and dead people were voting, and all this type of stuff. Obviously, he knows something we don't know about the undead, but all these things that have happened, we get some sort of shining light. I think we did discuss this in a previous episode, so we covered. It's so crazy. We cover all these things. A lot of things we didn't talk about in episodes, but a lot of this stuff we did. So please go back and make sure you subscribe and watch those episodes to get a wider spectrum of all these things. I know I've glossed over a lot of things that might affect people deeper than some of the things that I've made more of a bigger issue of. But we have done episodes on all these things. So please make sure that you go and watch those shows and watch those episodes and subscribe. But we get Joe Biden, we get Kamala Harris for January 20th. I say we, but America. I kind of, on a funny note, I kind of want to see Donald Trump kicking and screaming, being pulled from the White House. I'm not gonna lie. I think that would be the greatest shit to ever happen in human history. And a lot of people say human history, and I'm like, yes, the greatest thing that happened in human history would be Donald Trump, the army going in there and them asking him to leave, and then he would leave quietly, like they're saying, listen, sir, we just want you to leave quietly. Just walk out with us. It's all good. And he's like, no, and he freaks out. And then they have to carry him out. As they carry him out, he's just moving his arms and moving his legs, and he's trying to break free from their grasp. I just hope that
Dave Chappelle will come out with a comedy sketch.
Oh man, please, Dave, please, if that happens, please, Mr. Chappelle, by all means, please. That would make 2020 worth it. That would have made all of everything that unfortunately we've had to go through. That would make all that shit work, just to see him kicking and screaming and dragged into a car and never to be heard of or seen again. Unfortunately, we know that that's a lie. He's planning to run in 2024 as an independent, which will, somebody, I was listening to a guy on CNN the other day, said it will likely tear the Republican Party apart, because a lot of people who are Republican will become independent because of their support for Donald Trump. Can't wait to see those debates.
Here's a fact. So I watched a documentary on him on Netflix, and he tried to do the independent thing. When was it? It was
like, I think the first time he tried to become president.
Yeah, was it like 2004? No, 2008.
Yeah, it was around there probably. What didn't he try and run against Obama, but he just got no traction?
Yes, yeah, I think it's 2008. So that between 2004 and 2008, I think he created his own like independent thing, and then they realized that it's extremely hard for
like Kanye West.
an
He realized very
independent
quickly.
to become president, unless you're
Yeah.
part of the Republican or Democratic Party. I think the last time that happened was like in like 1880 or something like that, like or 1890 or something like that, where you've had like a different party other than Republican or
Democrats
Democrat.
or Republicans. Yeah.
So that'd be interesting. Be interesting to see how many votes he gets, because I'm sure
I think now it's gonna be more powerful, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you'll get way more. Like you get millions of votes, easy.
I think now because he's been president. I mean, you still have people running the streets. These white people. The other day in Washington D.C., there was white supremacy protests. They were ripping down Black Lives Matter signage and all that type of stuff. So you imagine those people waiting for the day, you know. And I still think there is and I hate to say this, I really do, but I still think that there's a race war coming. I mean, we've seen things like fans being let back into stadiums over here for football and then booing when the players are taking a knee and stuff like that. So we can see that the problem is widespread. We also, just to highlight that from a sport perspective, a couple nights ago, we also had, actually, it was a week and a half ago, we had a fourth official who's supposed to be there to help the referee use the N-word against a black coach in a soccer game for our American friends and obviously our British listeners and watchers, football game in the Champions League. So, you know, we still see that there's a battle. And hopefully it just stays with words and we can work these things out. But I genuinely think in America's ground zero for what could be only described as a race war. Because
America's different.
I think we're seeing the return. Yeah, I think we're seeing the return to white supremacy. I don't think it ever went anywhere, but I think like in terms of the heightened state of it, I think we're seeing a return of that. I mean, I'm seeing older ladies now, older women, older white women talking about, yep, he won, and since they robbed him in 2024, we're coming back for everything they owe us. I'm like, God damn, what you been listening to Wu-Tang?
Some of that stuff will die down once. Well, a couple of things. Once Trump's not on TV anymore. Well, he will be on TV because he might do like books and all that sort of stuff, but he won't be the president at the forefront. And second of all, after he's not president, Twitter, well, especially Twitter, they've already said that if he starts doing the madness,
they're going to probably
take him down. So you have less of a voice to sort of spread it.
I'm sure. Here's the thing.
You got to remember, people are quick to go on to the next thing.
To forget.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think, okay, so two sides of it. I agree. People are quick to move on because if we look at 2020 as a whole, we got to look at the fact that things have happened so simultaneously and at the same time, in the same instance, that we just moved to the next tragedy, right? Or the next issue or the next problem, as it were. And I feel like people could possibly just say, all right, fuck them. We got what we got, move on. Do I think that's going to happen? For the most part, yeah. For the most part, people probably will just say, it is what it is.
You got to remember that he can't become president until 4 years from now. That's a long time for him to stay relevant.
It is.
And he's going to be old.
You know what's so crazy?
He's going to be an old guy then. I know.
Unless he dies. Unless he dies, and I'm not wishing death on the man, but unless he dies, I mean, that's also 4 years to galvanize.
True. I guess it depends on what.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, yeah, I mean, he here's the thing. Silence, and I always say this to people, don't take silence for weakness or for people not educating themselves or getting better at what they do. Remember that education doesn't necessarily have to be a good thing to you or to me, right? So me and you be like, all right, cool. So we're gonna educate ourselves in a good way, but somebody else might look at that as a bad thing, right? I mean, black people weren't allowed to read at one stage. You know what I'm saying? Like, and for me, he might be sitting back thinking, I need to educate myself, not on the things that I should be educating myself on, but on things that I need to educate myself on to start my assault on the presidency in 4 years' time. And the more people can get, listen, do I think Donald Trump's going to stop campaigning? Probably not. I mean, we aren't talking about a billionaire. We're talking about a guy who was still making money while he was president. You know, he just put the names of his businesses and his kids' names and stuff like that, family members. I mean, I know New York have a big thing against him when he's no longer president for some fraudulent activity. But that, I mean, you know, rich people don't go to prison, and when they do, right, they get out of that shit. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I think he'll still campaign. I think he'll still try and galvanize as many of his supporters as he possibly can, who are predominantly white. And that's not me pointing that out to point out the point of racism or anything like that. A lot of people might watch this channel or what have you. We've had some people comment and say things about being rap or so and so forth, but it's not about being racist. I just think that when you look at equality, gender equality, and all these type of things, and racial equality and things of that nature, you know, those are the people who support him, and those are people who are innately racist. So it's gonna be interesting to see over the next 4 years what he does. I think unless something happens to him, prison, death, or anything like that, I don't think he's going away anytime soon. Twitter is not the only place for him to spew his messages. Do I think that other people will have to delete him off their social sites? Probably, but it doesn't, all because they delete him doesn't mean that the message still ain't getting out there. You know, there's a man that has a media company, there's a man who Fox adore. So, you know, I can't wait for his first interview on Fox. That's going to be fucking fireworks, because he's not going to be asked anything difficult. He's going to blame the American Constitution for everything. And then we'll see if he ever actually uses the N-word, which would be interesting. I look forward to that moment. The first open former president to say, you know what? I was really trying to kill all them niggas. Like, you know, we'll see if that actually happens. But man, 2020 has been one hell of a year. We still got bits of it to go. You know, we're sitting now here in December. So we'll see what happens, man. I think there's still a lot of open cases. The things that we read, I think there's a lot of open cases, things that are still yet to be sorted out. Brexit still being sorted out. You know, all these things are still being kind of like moved through. So we'll see what happens, man. I just, you know, I hope that 2021 is better, and we can possibly see light at the end of this really weird ass tunnel that we're all in.
Yeah.
But,
we'll be back in 2021.
Yeah, we'll be back in 2021. I hope that you guys continue to rock with us. I'm dead serious about the Batsuit thing. You give me 500 subscribers, I will locate Batsuit and eat it live on camera. Well, I don't know how easy it'll be at this point to locate Batsuit. Let's just be honest. I don't know if that's gonna happen. But we can figure out in the comments. We can figure out some other things to do.
I'm not even just saying this. I'm saying this from a good place. You might be able to go to a Chinese supermarket, maybe. Maybe it's against EU law.
Listen, RAF doesn't mean anything by that, people.
No, because like, if that's the eat, do you know what I mean? And it's
I don't. You know what? You know, I've been to China, and I've seen a lot of different weird fucking foods that they eat. And to be honest with you, like if you go to any region of the world, of the world where people
even
tend to
even people in the South of America.
South America. I mean, shit. Not South America, but the deep South, the Bible Belt. No, I mean, listen, they eat possums, raccoons, squirrels, all sorts of shit. Yeah, so it's all relative, man. I think everybody munches weird things. I mean, I personally try to stick to chicken. You know, the animals they say we should eat. You know, chicken, lamb, beef. You know, sometimes the occasional pig with a little bit of bacon on it, but you know, that's about it. But you know, I mean, I've been vegetarian since September. That's gonna end, so I guess that's gonna end with 2020. That should be fun. I got a steak in the freezer waiting to be grilled and eaten, so I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, no, man. We on a serious note, and ending this video, we look forward to seeing you guys in 2021. A lot more content, a lot more collabs. We got some things in the pipeline, and hopefully you guys continue to rock with us and what have you. Just support, bro. Like really support. And in 2021, we got so much shit coming. I mean, you're probably gonna get sick of seeing me and Raph, but I don't give a shit. I genuinely don't give a shit. I think we're gonna have so many things that I'm working on with Bits Media and trying to get things going with that and with this and with Footy 258 and with all sorts of things, man. Dickhead of the Day will be actually happening periodically every week, hopefully. So yeah, man, just so many things coming in, and we're working extremely hard to try and bring those things to you so you can continue to subscribe and watch our content. But anyway, it's Blurred Lines. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Stop being negative. If you don't like the videos, don't just hit the I don't like it button. I actually appreciate that. Comment and say I don't like it, or say, or whatever you do what you do. But my whole thing is stop fucking playing games, bro. Like, stop sending me messages saying I'd rather not. I'd rather you didn't send the message. Anyways, Bird Lines, I don't care how you feel. And God bless, Godspeed. It's just 2021.